Well, as she just said, much of that flooding could be behind us, but for people living on one road in Canal Fulton, the floodwaters there are still relatively deep. Our Ray Strickland joins us there live tonight with an update. Hi, Ray.
Hey, how you doing, Sarah? And yes, we're live on Millhaven Road in Canal Fulton. And if you can believe it, the water here is actually the best it's been over the last couple of days. And if you can see where I'm standing, the water is still pretty deep, and it gets even deeper as you walk even farther. But the good news, the water is starting to recede. But since this flooding began, people were forced to take their cars up the street so they don't get trapped. And in order to get to those cars, they either had to use the train tracks or a boat.
It was quite worse back then.
Don Young has been living in this area of Canal Fulton for decades. He says this is the worst flooding he's seen on Millhaven Road since 1969.
It was at least 5 days where it was flooded where you couldn't get through.
Good memories, though, for Don, who at the time was 9 years old and took on the job as a chauffeur to help people get across the floodwaters.
I would take people back and forth with the rowboat.
For a small fee, right?
Yeah, for as much as I could get out of them.
Fast forward 50 years later.
And it just kept rising and rising.
The area was hit historically hard again, turning this road into a river. The real river, the Tuscarawas, left around 4 feet of water after it went over its banks. The floodwaters even reached as far as Don's front lawn.
There's no vehicle that can go through that. You can put a jet ski in there at that point.
People here have had to move their cars up the road to avoid being stuck. For the past couple of days, they've been forced to use the train tracks or, just like 1969, a boat to get by.
We're getting a lot more exercise. We're walking back and forth several times a day.
In about 3 days, we've been stuck at home.
Luckily for Jim Rupert, the water is starting to recede. But once it's all gone, he hopes there's serious talk about adding another way out of this neighborhood where the road leads to a dead end.
Whether it be a dirt, gravel, whatever, it'd be nice to have another outlet.
And one homeowner I spoke to says about 5 years ago, this road was actually fixed to prevent flooding like this. But as you can see, this area was just no match for the heavy rain we got over the last couple of days. But again, Sarah, the good news, the rain is starting to recede and hopefully gone in the next couple of days.
Let's hope we have turned a corner. All right. Thank you, Ray.